This one short. The ball balloons up in the air. Vicky Vessels, and he goes through for what I imagine will be a leg bite. Let's wait and see if there's a signal from Russell Warren, and there is. The short boy looked to pull it, didn't make contact. I feel he's missed out a bit there, I think. It rolls out on the onside, and they come through for a leg bye, so one more to the total. 41 for 1, Worcestershire. In the 7th over. White with a deep backward square, deep mid-wicket, deep cover, long off, long on, as his fielder's outside the circle. And other than that, he's got, what, 3 saving the 1 on the offside, as White bowls. And Haynes once again employs the sweep, sweeps it nicely, but of course there's a man out there now, Paul Sterling. He sends in a good flat return, and he rehearses the stroke again. He played it well enough, but there is a man out there, which there wasn't before when he picked up a boundary, but it's one more to Haynes, who goes to 22, and Worcestershire to 42 for 1. Last ball of the 7th coming down. Graham White, 34 years old now, and Vessels on the back foot punches it up to long on, where Safe Sabe fields once again. And he picks up a single. End of that over. 13 to Vessels, 22 to Haynes. 22 off to 17 balls for Jack Haynes on his blast debut. And at the end of the 7th over, Worcestershire going nicely, 43 for 1.
Well, yes, 7 overs gone, but only one really lofted shot that I can recall. Haynes lifted one over the covers, and apart from that, well, of course, Rutherford lofted one, but
yes,
he was caught off that one. But yeah, I think the players have kind of sussed out the surface, as it were.
Yes, he's not going to be a 200 plays 200. This I wouldn't have thought.
No.
But,
no. Brandon Glover coming on from the Digless end. Now, I don't know too much about Brandon Glover, only what I've read in the Book of Words. Tell me a bit about him.
He's new to Northamptonshire this year. He's South African born, but he's been playing international cricket for the Netherlands and was one of their key bowlers, possibly their key bowler, in the qualification tournament that secured them a place in the World T20 World Cup whenever it happens. And he's come to Northamptonshire this year, played one championship match against Somerset, and he's going to be a key member, I think, of the attack for this competition.
He's in bowls, but he's going to be called a wide down the leg side. You built him up well there, Randy.
I did, yeah. Thanks, Brandon. Very grateful.
It is. I look through the scores. I can say look through scores in the papers, and I was in the papers these days. But you go online, you look at the scores, and there's quite a few names cropping up this season that you don't normally see because of a lack of overseas players, particularly in county cricket, I find.
Well, he's a great friend of Ricardo Vasconcelos, with Northamptonshire, of course, on a long-term contract.
Next ball, and this is in the air and gone. No, dropped at mid-on, and that was, I thought, a pretty straightforward catch, but Nathan Buck put it down. It was above his head, but I think he should have caught that.
Actually, he just looked as though he misjudged it slightly. I think it was coming a little bit harder than he thought, and he came in and in the end had to put his hands up to catch it, and yeah, that was that really should have been caught.
Yeah. Well, it's a white ball. It's coming out of the white seats below us.
Just misjudged it, but yeah, that was a real chance.
So Worcestershire move on to 46 for 1, and Ricky Vessels with that let off, and 2 runs goes to 15. So changing the field here. Levy, who was at 3rd man, goes into the circle. So the boundary runners. There's a long on, a deep mid-wicket, deep square leg, and a sweeper on the cover boundary. And this time this is whacked away by Vessels. He's really got hold of that one. There's a race round the boundary from Zaev, who's done very well to keep that on the island. That was a real sprint round there. He's gone, what, 25, probably 30 metres to cut that one off.
He's very quick. He's very
good effort.
To the ground.
Yeah.
The other, of course, contact with, as far as Glover's arrival at Northamptonshire is that Chris Liddle, who's Northampton's new bowling coach, was also doing some work with the Netherlands national team. So that was another point of contact that brought him to Wantage Road this year.
There's usually a link somewhere.
Yeah, bowled well in the championship match against Somerset in a defeat.
Vessels 3 takes him to 18, 49 for 1 Worcestershire. I've got to do an update into another radio frequency as Glover bowls. This is dabbed into the ground. They'll get a single here. FM listeners, join us with Worcestershire's 50 up, 50 for 1 they are in the 8th over. They've just had a little let-off though, because Ricky Vessels really should have been caught by Nathan Buck at mid-on, but Vessels is still on 18, Jack Haynes on 23, the man out, Hamish Rutherford, caught by Buck off the bowling of Sonderson for 5, Worcestershire 50 for 1 in the 8th over. A little dab into the ground and a quick scampered single. Glover bowls again this time. Vessel's gone! In fact, I think it's broken the stump.
I think it has.
It's his leg stump. He went for a big wahoo across the line, and it has broken the stump. The ground staff are going to have to go running down to get another stump. So Vessels goes, the second wicket to go. He's out for 18, and Worcestershire are 50 for 2 in the 8th over. Just getting a replay of that. Yeah, it is. It's broken the leg stump.
Well, it's a good job we're not on telly, because of course when they had all the electronics.
Oh yeah, that's true.
There'd be all sorts of things going on. Yeah, I mean, it's a good start. Brandon Glover should have had a wicket earlier in the over. That rather badly misjudged effort at deepish mid-on by Nathan Buck. But yeah, he's made an impact. This, as I say, bowled well in the game against Somerset in the championship match on a pitch that was, admittedly giving the seamers a lot of help. But I think the feeling is that this is probably going to be his competition that he's really going to flourish in, and this is one of the reasons why Northamptonshire have brought him in, because they're very much targeting the white ball stuff this year ahead of the red ball. And yeah, pretty good start. He's got a bit of pace, and he's quite skiddy, which I think on this sort of surface would be very handy.
Ricky Vessels replaced by Jake Libby, making his white ball debut, if you want to call it that, making his T20 debut for Worcestershire, though of course he has played for Nottinghamshire. So just looking round, I think one of the, we've got 1, 2, 3, got 6, 5 in the circle, that's about right. Next ball is pushed away, going to get off the mark straight away here, Libby. They're not going to come back for a second, which will leave in very quickly from third man. The total goes to 51 for 2, with Libby off the mark with that one. Haynes has 23 off 18 deliveries, and we have a new leg stump as well, you'll be pleased to know.
So I don't see that very often. It just split in two, didn't it?
Yeah, I think it's made of plasticine or something. Glover's next ball, and this is Haynes just off his pads, flicking it away, down backward to square on the leg side. Wakely comes in quickly from the Cathedral side of the ground to do the fielding, and there is no run. There is one run. I'm just looking up. It looks to me as if somebody might be watching over the fence away on the left-hand side.
Oh yes.
Oh no, I think it's a photographer.
I thought it was going to be like one of the Chads,
Yes, with his nose over the fence.
What no crowd.
That was the end of the over, 52 for 2, and there is nobody sneaking a look. It is a photographer over there.
Looks really well organised, doesn't he, Jack Haynes? It's a very impressive start by him.
Yeah, looks the part.
Yeah, he certainly does. And the thing is also, we'll see what happens if he's still in the closing overs. But the shots he's played so far have been good cricket shots. The sweep, especially, that he timed beautifully, that went down there. Some nice punches away off the back foot in the cover region. Yeah, looks a good player. Well, he's on 24 now off 19 balls, and he's going to be facing this ball from Graham White, left arm spinner. And once again, he plays sweep. It's more of a paddle than a sweep, not a full-blooded one. Mindful of where the fielders are. Once again, Paul Sterling comes out from in front of the marquee, doubling as the players' gym, and they pick up a single. 25 to Haynes, and Worcestershire up to 53 for 2. This is the start of the 9th over. A bit of a consultation between Haynes passing on a bit of wisdom to the new batsman Jake Libby. Sun out again, still very breezy as White bowls to Libby, and Libby pushes that away towards mid-wicket, and diving stop by Josh Cobb on one of the old pitches. Amazing, it's surprising now how dusty it is, considering the rain we've had.
They've been using those as practice pitches. They don't normally do it, Worcester, but of course they don't probably need the whole of the square this season.
So one more to Libby, 2 to him, 54 for 2. White in again, bowls, and Haynes comes down the pitch and drives that up towards long off, and it's 6. It's 6, just clears the rope. Alex Wakely running round there from deep cover, but couldn't get to it. And again, a good bit of improvisation. Wasn't a huge 6 by any means, but it was hard enough, and Alex Wakely having to just step over the boundary boards and collect it. So 6 to Jack Haynes, 31 to him, and Worcestershire 60 for 2.
I got the impression he didn't get all of that.
No.
It was a bit sliced, wasn't it?
No, he just got slightly in his own way as he came down the pitch, but he got enough on it. White in again, bowls to Haynes, who steps back and cracks that away to extra cover, and it's fielded well by Nathan Buck, who staves possibly 4. They come back for 2. Good running as well, because again Haynes was running to the danger end where the throw came in. Good flat throw from the boundary after Wakely had just taken the way off it, but he picks up 2 more runs. 33 to Haynes off 22 balls, 62 for 2 Worcestershire. This is the 9th over. White in again, bowls, and once again Haynes gives himself room. That's beautiful batting. He's just opened the face and cut it away down through backward point for 4. That's a lovely bit of batting. Proper cricket shot. 4 to Jack Haynes, 37 to him, and Worcestershire up to 66 for 2. And as T20 debuts go, Dave, this ain't a bad one so far.
It's not a bad one. I got the impression that wasn't 2-1. I'm just getting a replay here.
Well, he gave himself,
that wasn't a bad ball.
He gave himself a bit of room, didn't he? Again, he sort of premeditated, but the execution, again, as his other shots so far today, has been absolutely first rate. Lovely shot. White in again, bowling to Haynes, and Haynes once again gives himself room. He's not going to get 4 this time. It goes a bit squarer, and there's a man down on the cover boundary, so he picks up just a single, but he nicks the bowling as well, so end of that over. And Haynes on 38, Jake Libby on 2, and Worcestershire with 9 overs gone is 67 for 2.
Vitality Blast Cricket from New Road in Worcester. You're on various frequencies if you're listening on the radio. BBC Hereford Worcester, BBC Radio Northampton. Good to have you with us. And of course we are on many platforms on social media. BBC Sport app, BBC Sport websites of those 2 radio stations as well. We're all there. Paul Sterling is going to come on this time from the Digless end. I said we are on the radio. Andrew Rudd and myself, Dave Bradley. Give ourselves a bit of a name check.
Yeah, Sterling bowled 1 over for 7, didn't he, and then was taken off.
So Haynes has 38 from 24 balls. Sterling bowls, and Haynes is way down the ground. He's cracked that back over the bowler's head. They'll come back for 2. Slight hesitation from Libby before he set off, but there was always 2 there, I would have thought.
Yeah.
So 2 they have. Worcestershire's total goes to 69 for 2. Have I beaten the board? Yes, I think I have. Haynes goes to 40.
Nathan Buck down there on the boundary looking as though he's had better afternoons, isn't he? He's just looking a tad disgruntled with life at the moment.
Sterling, right arm over, off 3 or 4 paces, bowls that short, and back and across goes Haynes, cracks it through the offside. Zahib comes in from the boundary in front of the ladies' pavilion, if you know your New Road. If you don't know New Road, he still came in from in front of the ladies' pavilion. So
there's still the cakes in there.
Oh no, not this year. Which was, again, it's a double-edged thing, because although I miss the cakes, I don't miss the calories, to be honest. 70 for 2 here, Worcestershire. We're in the 10th over, and this time Libby just taps this one away on the offside. A very comfortable single. There's a couple of inside the circle there, and Levy just comes slowly around to pick it up. And 1 more to the total. Bless you, whoever that was. 71 for 2. Libby goes to 3. Haynes on 41. Sterling bowls. Haynes gets this one away. It's in the air, and if he's caught that, that's a great catch. That's a super catch. Now, who's that out there? Sol, yeah, great catch that is, because he really leathered that one, and Sol had to come in. He had to run in, a dozen paces, I would have thought, and dive forward, which is always difficult, and very often when you do that, the ball's in your hands and it bounces out, but he hung on to it. So Haynes goes for a very good 41, and Worcestershire 71 for 2 in the 10th. Yeah, it was interesting. We were having a conversation with Phil Rowe, who's done some summarising for us on BBC Radio Northampton, who was Northampton's assistant coach until the end of last year, when he decided to take a job outside of cricket, and we were talking about players and the structure of the side for the T20, and he said he would play Tom Sol because, in his words, he makes things happen in the field. And we talked about the fact that he's not bowling really these days. He's playing as a batsman, but that was a terrific take, wasn't it? Because it's like you said, he had to come in, and it's always the most difficult thing, because there's that split second when you think, am I going to catch it, or is it going to bounce and hit me in the teeth? Or go for a boundary.
But he came in and took that really, really well, and it's the sort of catch that can change a match.
Sterling is bowling to Libby because the batsman changed hands, or changed ends. They might have changed hands while the ball was in the air, but they certainly changed ends. Zaid comes in from the extra cover boundary to field. One more to the Worcestershire total, 71 for 3, and we're in the 10th over, so maybe 150, 160 is what might be thought of as a par score. Here's Sterling, just a bit of a change in the field, bowling to Brett D'Oliveira. D'Oliveira's first ball of the day, first ball of the season, taps it away, just backward of square on the offside. Going to pick up a single as the fielding is done by... Who's that down there? Oh, Brandon Glover, sorry. He's one of the tall men in the Northamptonshire team. End of the over, we've had 10 overs, 73 for 3. D'Oliveira has 1, Libby has 4, Rutherford made 5, Vessels made 18, and Haynes 41, Sanderson, Glover and Sterling all picking up a wicket apiece, and we're back to spin from the New Road end.
Yeah, Northampton's white ball captain Josh Cobb is going to come back into the attack. He's already bowled a couple of overs so far, 2 overs for 10, and he's going to bowl to Brett D'Oliveira. He does so, and D'Oliveira just drives, but straight back down the pitch, fielded by the bowler, and there's no run. Dot ball, and Northamptonshire 12th, 13th and 14th men in their fetching green tabards down to our left, ready to come on and help with caps. And that ball is outside the off stump, and Brett D'Oliveira looking to cut, doesn't make contact, goes through to Adam Rossington, who knocks the bails off, and Jeremy Lloyd has to shuffle in from square leg to remake the wicket, which he does.
The man with gloves on is not allowed to put the bails back on.
No, absolutely not, no. Indeed. Cobbin again bowls his off spin, and this time D'Oliveira does get a single as he plays it out to the man on the deep cover boundary. Brandon Glover, 1 to him, and he goes up to 2, and Worcestershire up to 74 for 3. Libby on 4, D'Oliveira on 2. 2 relatively new batsmen in as Cobb bowls, and Libby plays this up pitch towards mid-on. Levy coming out round to make absolutely certain, but in fact the bowler himself fields, so there's no run. 4 balls gone by already in this over as Cobb bowls that one, and nice shot off his hip by Jake Libby out into the onside to pick up 2 easy runs as Paul Sterling has to run round, make a bit of ground to field. He does so, sends back the return. And that's 2 more to Libby, 6 to him, and Worcestershire 76 for 3. Last ball of the 11th going down. He's got those 2 men back on the leg side, deep backward square and deep mid wicket. Long on, long off and deep cover. And once again, Libby this time goes to sort of fiddle that down towards third man, doesn't make contact, goes through the keeper. Good over from Josh Cobb.
Yeah.
End of that one with Libby on 6, D'Oliveira on 2, 11 gone, and Worcestershire 76 for 3.
And how many overs of spin have we got so far? I haven't got the score thing here.
We've had so far 3, 5, 7.
7 overs out of 11.
7 out of 11.
And it looks as if we're going to get some more as well.
It's Graham White at the other end.
Yeah. White to bowl left arm around. Just going to have a consultation with his captain Josh Cobb before we get underway. What have we got? We've got deep backward square, deep mid wicket, a long on, a long off, and a sweeper on the cover boundary, and an extra cover. Sterling is going round there. A short third man, mid wicket, and a fine leg inside the circle. So White left arm round, bowls D'Oliveira off a pad. Thoughts of a single, but Rossington quickly out from behind the stumps to field. Another dot. Northampton
just looking to hurry through some overs here, aren't they? Just hurry through these middle overs.
We were talking about cut-offs and things like that. Well, they're going to be well inside there. Next ball is short, and D'Oliveira cuts, and it goes out on the offside. Zaib comes into field. It's back. Well, the cut-off time at the moment is 2:17. Well, they're going to be comfortably inside that, I would have thought.
Looks like it, doesn't it? 35 minutes.
Next ball. The umpire in the stumps, he bowls, and Libby works it away on the leg side. Might think about 2 here. No, they In the end, they might have got to, but you don't know where the throw's going to go, and it was very quickly. I think it's Tom Sol out there again, very quickly to the ball, and whipped it back in. 78 for 3 in the 12th over. White balls again, D'Oliveira with the reverse. They're going to get a single here. D'Oliveira will have to get his skates on as Levy's throw comes into the bowler's end. Levy, who was at third man, but I think becomes fine leg when you play a shot like that. But both batsmen into their work, running wise, and in the end I suppose it was fairly comfortable. 79 for 3. Here's Libby down the pitch. He comes and drives it out on the onside. Sol once again comes in from the mid-wicket boundary to field. One more to the total, 80 for 3. We've got the last ball of the 12th over is about to be purveyed towards the batsman by Graham White. Bowling from the Diglis end, left arm round to the right-handed D'Oliveira, and this ball is driven on the offside. Won't get anything there though. Josh Cobb, the skipper, in the way. May have been a single anyway, because there was a sweeper fielder out. Do you sweep on the long off boundary? Anyway, there was somebody on the long off boundary. A trio of Northamptonshire 12th, 13th and 14th men. Come on.
Yes, coming on for caps, and we've got Gareth Berg, Rob Keogh and Ricardo Vasconcelos, who's gone out to meet Paul Sterling, who's coming back into the attack, so a bit more spin. Northampton's assistant coach John Sadler down there.
I didn't give the score, I'll get told off. 80 for 3 at the end of the 12th.
Yeah, so another over of spin. We're going to see Paul Sterling, who's so far bowled 2 overs, 1 for 13, picking up that wicket of Jack Haynes with the aid of an excellent catch at deep mid-wicket by Tom Sol. Here's Sterling from this pavilion end, starting this over to Libby, who drives up to long on for a comfortable single. Safe save, who's spent a good part of the afternoon down there just fielding in front of us, having a chat with the 3 tabarded and Libby this time comes down the pitch, hits that inside out, good shot, good judgment and good placement, and picks the gap between 2 men out there, one at long off and one at deep extra, and he gets a 4. First boundary for a little while. 13 to Libby off 11 balls, and 86 for 3 Worcestershire after being put into bat by Josh Cobb. Field changes over with another man coming over into the offside, and now there's only one saving one on the onside and 3 men out. That's just a backward square. Sterling bowls, and immediately, needless to say, Libby plays it into the onside. They come back for 2 as it goes out to Tom Sol at deep mid-wicket. He's having to cover a lot of ground out there, and they get 2 pretty comfortably in the end. Libby up to 15 and Worcestershire up to 88 for 3. Tom Sol, I know he's been in the game this afternoon. Sterling in again, bowls to Libby, who drives this up to long on. Very similar to the first ball of the over. Once again he picks up a single. It goes out to Safe Save, who's the other spin option if Northamptonshire decided to bring in another spin. He bowls slow left arm.
Interesting, he's got a towel stuck out of his trousers to dry the balls if it's still a bit damp on the outfield.
I think possibly the outfield maybe is. Again, I saw the going around with the rope very early on this morning to get the most of the moisture. I suppose it's just perhaps coming to the surface a little bit as the sun gets on it. And Sterling in again. In front of us, having a chat with the 3 tabarded front of us, having a chat with the 3 tabarded think they're just catching up a couple of deliveries, actually.
Yeah, it's all a bit hectic, isn't it? T20 for the old scorers and the automatic scoreboard. Then he has to sort of miss a click and miss a digit, and it's a lot of catching up.
With only us.
Yes, many a scoreboard
has baffled us.
Has failed to keep up with T20 cricket. I do have to say, as safe say, he's going to bowl from
the fourth spinner.
Yeah, that's good to see. From the Diglis end of the ground, and his first ball will be to Jake Libby, who's on 16, and this is Libby whacking this one away through the offside for a single. Alex Wakely bends his tall frame to field. We were at Northampton at the end of last T20 group campaign, and the Steelbacks had got nothing to gain. Well, they had, because they wanted to win the game, but what I think I noticed was a cracking atmosphere in the ground. I know earlier in the campaign a game rained off, and I think people were allowed to come in if they still had tickets for that. But it was a good crowd and a great atmosphere. Zabin and bowls, quicker delivery, loud appeal. I would have thought, and we're not at a great angle, but I would have thought that was missing leg stump the way.
It's interesting here, Dave. Zabe's bowling very much in his sort of the way he bowls in one-day club cricket. He plays a lot of club cricket. He has played a lot of club cricket in the Northants League, and he really fires it in quickly.
Pinged that one in. Bowls again. There's a bit of misunderstanding between the Worcestershire batsmen. In the end, it was very comfortable because Paul Stirling had to go to his left to pick it up, but there was, as Christa Berg sang, almost fatal hesitation. Here's Zaib, left arm round again, this time whipped away by Libby, only be a single. One more to the total, goes to 92 for 4 in the 14th over of the Worcestershire innings.
Yeah, Friday nights at Wantage Road, you do get a good atmosphere there.
That was really good. They played some cracking music as well.
Dear, oh dear.
The ball pushed out on the offside. Oh, you old people, you can't stand the music, can you? Good stop by Stirling this time, going down to his right. But no, I think on that occasion it was good because it really added to the atmosphere. There are times in cricket when you think, why bother? But yeah, it was really good. And Steelbacks won 92 for 4 here. Next ball, Cox eases away to the onside. There's one, there might be two. Libby is running to the danger end. No, in fact, Cox is running to the danger end because the throw comes in to wicketkeeper Rossington. In the end, because they ran the first run so quickly, they were able to come back for the second, and fairly comfortably as well. 94 for 4. Cox has 3, Libby has 18. We've just completed the 14th of the 20 overs in the T20. I think the clue's in the question.
And again, nice bit of technique there from Ben Cox. He didn't hit it too hard. If he'd actually hit that harder, it would have been straight out to the man, and they'd have got one. As it was, he just held back on the shot a little bit, weighted the shot, and they picked up 2.
I've got to, sorry to interrupt, before 2:30 I've got to say hello to Freddie, who's listening to our commentary in deepest Surrey.
Hello, Freddie.
Yeah.
Paul Stirling is going to start a fresh over, and he bowls this one to Jake Libby, who plays it up for Tom Sole to field, just coming in off the deep mid-wicket boundary.
Yeah, I had to do that one quickly because he's going to Taekwondo at 2:30.
Oh, well.
I didn't know there was any flights to Japan. Freddie, good to hear from you.
One more to Libby. He's up to 19, and Worcestershire up to 95 for 4. That's the start of the 15th over. And Stirling in again. Bowls to Cox, goes for the reverse sweep, doesn't make contact, goes through to Adam Rossington, and there's no run. Stirling, before this over, 3 overs, 2 for 22. Wickets to Jack Haynes, and in his last over, Brett D'Oliveira. So this is his last over of the afternoon. Stirling in again, bowls, and this time Cox plays it up to mid-on, where it's fielded by Josh Cobb on the edge of the square, Northampton's white ball captain, and there's no run. Stirling doing a good job for his captain here. He's in again and bowls to Cox, who drives that nicely up to long off, where Graham White comes in off the boundary and fields. One more run to Ben Cox, who goes up to 4, and the total to 96 for 4 on this sunny afternoon at New Road. Sunny but breezy, and 4 men up there saving the single as Libby plays this up towards Tom Sole, who again has to make ground to his left at deep mid-wicket. So there's an easy single, but they weren't about to risk 2 to Tom Sole. I think that's probably wise. 20 to Libby, who's faced 17 balls, 97 for 4. One more ball to go in the 15th over. One more ball of Paul Sterling's spell. And Sterling finishes up with almost identical single up to Tom Sole at deep mid-wicket, who again comes in quickly. No chance of a second, so one more to Ben Cox, who goes up to 5. 15 overs gone, end of that one. And Worcestershire 99 for 4 after being put into bat. The spinners have done well. And Sterling finishing there with 2 for 25 off 4 overs.
Interesting this, because Worcestershire got some wickets in hand here, but there's only 5 overs left, and they've got to go 10 and over now to get up towards 150. So we could have a very entertaining 15-20 minutes cricket here. Been busy in the field, Steelbacks.
Susting safe Zabe again.
Yeah. Zabe to bowl, to Cox, long on and long off, out. This one, Cox works away on the onside. There might be, no, there's not going to be 2 there, because it's a run round from fine leg for Brandon Glover. So one more to the total, goes to 99 for 4. Zabe with his tail stuck out, his towel hanging from the back of his trousers. Down the wicket comes Libby, drives it high in the air. He could go here. No, didn't quite carry. Way out to... is that Nathan Buck out there?
That is Graham White out.
Graham White. He's a long way from us.
Yeah.
Didn't quite carry to him. Good effort though. Next ball, Cox whips it away. This time it'll only be a single once again, down backward of square on the leg side. This time it's Ben Sanderson who comes into field. Ben Sanderson who's bowled 2 overs today. And he would, I suppose, expect to bowl his full quota. He still might. Zabe in, bowls, driven all along the ground this time by Libby, out to long off, should only be a single. 102 for 4 Worcestershire, and we are in the 16th over of the innings at a deserted New Road. Still quite a breeze blowing across the ground. It would drift the ball in to aid Zabe, but he's bowling it, he's really spearing it in, so not much chance of any drift there. And the bowler himself has to run out towards mid-on position to do the fielding.
Towel flapping behind him.
Towel flapping behind him, yeah. 103 for 4. This is the last ball of the 16th over. This time Libby once again whacks it way out to long off. They might come back for a second here. They will come back for a second in the end. Comfortable for 2. 105 for 4 Worcestershire, with 4 overs remaining in the innings. I
think one of the reasons, Dave, that Northamptonshire feel quite confident about the T20 this year is because they have so many bowling options.
Yes.
And I think that they've shown that here today, and obviously they decide they haven't got Gareth Berg playing today, or Blessing Muzarabani, but they feel that they've got all bases covered pretty much, and particularly as far as the spin options go. And Safe Zabe is going to play. He gives them obviously another option as well. He's been very accurate in club cricket when he's played. This is obviously a step up for him, but he's a confident young man, and spinners so far today.
I think Worcestershire have to go up and over from here, aren't they?
Yeah, well, 12 overs of the 16 have been bowled by spin so far.
Yeah,
There's about to be another one, because Josh Cobb is going to start the 17th over, and bowls to Ben Cox, who goes for the reverse sweep. Doesn't get hold of it really, but is going to get a single. Down to third man, so one more to Cox, who goes to 9. 12 balls he's faced, 106 for 4. In this, the 17th over, Josh Cobb, bowling from this pavilion end, bowls outside the off stump. Libby steps back to try and cut it away through backward point, doesn't make contact, goes through to Rossington, and immediately there's a change in the field with Levy going across to backward point and Sterling coming in at extra cover. This time that's a nice shot, and it goes out towards the boundary, and that's another superb catch out there on the fence. It was a good shot by Jake Libby, it was a good option. He tried to step inside and hit it over extra cover, and I must admit my thinking of it originally was that Graham White wasn't quite going to get there running round from long off, but he did. He dived forward, timed the dive to perfection. It's another good catch that White's taken. It's a wicket for the Northamptonshire captain Josh Cobb, and that's the end of Jake Libby, who's out for 24. And in the 17th over, Worcestershire 106 for 5.
Yeah, another super catch. Say he had quite a way to go, and then timed it perfectly with his dive.
I just didn't think he was going to get there.
No, but he did. And well, apart from Nathan Buck, the drop on vessels when he got 13 vessels, which he would admit he should have caught at mid-on, I think they've been very tidy in the field, very busy, very active. Of the Steelbacks. Ross Whiteley coming in, and if anybody could boost a Worcestershire total from here, Whiteley should be the man, although he's had very little active cricket this season. Lots of nets, of course, lots of practicing, but not really had much time in the middle, so...
Certainly hits a long ball, as they say.
Yes. How good his timing is remains to be seen.
Well, Libby out for 24, caught white bowled Cobb, 24 off 22 balls. And here's Cobb again to bowl to Ben Cox because the batsman crossed, and Cox picks up a single as he drives it up to long on, fielded by Safe coming in off the boundary. And that takes Cox up to 11 and Worcestershire up to 108 for 5.
The problem, of course, for Whiteley is he's really got time to play himself in. There's only, 20 balls of the innings left.
Right, this is the 17th over. Worcestershire having lost Rutherford for 5, Vessels for 18, Haynes for 41, D'Oliveira for 5, and Libby for 24. 2 wickets for Paul Sterling, 1 apiece for Sanderson, Glover and Cobb, as Cobb bowls this one to the left-handed Whiteley, who drives it up to long off. Once again it's Saif Zaid who does the fielding. They pick up an easy single, so Whiteley's off the mark.
Nice gentle full toss to start.
Yes, just what you want. I think another day and another set of circumstances that might have disappeared over us. As it is, 108 for 5. And this time Cox again turns it away through mid-wicket, but only gets a single as Tom Sole comes in off the boundary in front of the scoreboard. So they pick up a single. That takes Ben Cox up to 11 off 14 balls, and at the end of the 17th over, so 3 to go, Worcestershire 109 for 5.
Live cricket from New Road in Worcester. Andrew Wright and myself, Dave Bradley, bringing you commentary on this game. Of course, you will get commentary on all your counties Vitality Blast T20 games on your local radio stations, on the radio sometimes, and certainly online, and all your county championship as well. You won't get any 50 over commentaries this season because there ain't any. We could kind of sit here one day and make it up, I suppose.
Where are you tomorrow, Dave? Oh, we're playing Monday, aren't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's the President's Day at Martley Cricket Club tomorrow, the big occasion of the season. Never mind this T20 Vitality Blast nonsense.
The big one.
The big one.
Graham White back in the attack.
White it is, left arm around his in and he bowls, and Cox just pushes away on the offside. I wonder if Worcestershire have got a total in mind of 130 here.
Maybe they think that's going to be competitive.
Yeah.
They can see it's obviously not coming on, that much I think we can say, and that's absolutely no surprise given the state of the weather and the sort of conditions that weather conditions that grounds have had to deal with. It's absolutely no reflection on them.
I've got to do an update I think I'm going to do an update in another radio programme. I've got a burst or something. It might have been the news. 110 for 5 then. 18 balls remaining. Whiteley to face with long on, long off, deep square leg. And a sweeper on the boundary, and Whiteley just pushes into the offside. Can't make too much of that. It's well bowled by White. Just aiming it in, bowling over the wicket to the left-hander. Just ripping it in there. Whiteley, bat held high, waits and whips this one away once again. Won't get a run for it. Straight to Cobb at mid-wicket. 2 dots to start this over. I told you I was going to do an update into another radio frequency, and I'll do it about now. 110 for 5 here. Worcestershire struggling to get a total to defend as Whiteley has a big swing at this next ball, goes down the leg side. We are in the 18th over of the innings. Good batting from Haynes, who made 41, but the real feature of the game has been the spinners of Northamptonshire, who have tied Worcestershire down there. 111 for 5 in the 18th over. This time Whiteley does get it away. Square the wicket. Sterling comes in and fields on deep square leg, and there is one more to the total. So the right-handed Cox, who's got 12 off 15 balls. awaits. Now, is he going to go up and over, or attempt to go up and over with this one? No, he's just flicking this one away off the pads for a single. And the Worcestershire batsmen are getting tied down, well and truly tied down by the spinners. 18th over about to end as the left-handed Whiteley faces. Now he's gone big and gets it away in the air, but he might have gone straight to Sterling. He has, straight down Paul Sterling's throat, and Ross Whiteley got hold of it, but couldn't get it up and over Sterling at deep square leg. And another good catch, that one, because it was going at a rate of knots. Another good catch, that one, because it was going at a rate of knots. Another good catch, that one, because it was
the white ball side, brings a huge amount of experience, obviously.
He's been around a bit, hasn't he?
He has, yeah. He's I can remember him coming into the Northamptonshire youth setup when he was 15 years old, and the best part of 20 years ago. And he's always been a very talented cricketer, very personable individual as well. And he's done the job this afternoon that his captain would have wanted. 4 overs, 1 for 27, Graham White. And to start the 19th over, it's going to be Safe Zabe.
Ed Barnard, the new batsman.
Yeah, Ed Barnard in, the captaining the Rapids, of course. And what can he do to try and boost this total? 113 for 6, 2 overs to go. Safe Zabe to bowl his 3rd over, 2 for 12 so far, 2 overs for 12. Zabe bowls, and a nice little reverse sweep by Ben Cox for a single as it goes down to the man at 3rd man. So 1 to Cox, who goes up to 14 off 17 balls, 114 for 6. Barnard takes guard. Let's look at the field. He's got short 3rd, backward point, extra cover on the offside as Barnard goes for more of a reverse pull than a reverse sweep. He gets not a lot on it, but enough again to go down to 3rd man for a single. So Barnard's off the mark with a single off his first ball, 115 for 6, as the ball loops back to Safe Zabe. As we've been saying, one of 4 spinners used by Northamptonshire this afternoon. As Zabe bowls round the wicket, and this is a clever shot by Ben Cox, who picks it up again, goes for the reverse hit, more the switch hit, and gets plenty on it this time, and it goes down to the boundary. And in fact, I suspect the ball may have gone under the covers, but it's 4 to Ben Cox, who goes up to 18, and a welcome boundary, 119 for 6. The fielder down there has to do a certain amount of ferreting around under the covers, but sends the ball back in.
There's no spectators to throw the ball back, and if
no,
they were,
they won't be allowed to. No.
If they were, no, they'd have been told, put the ball down, don't touch it.
So a boundary there for Cox, and he's just changing the field in anticipation of him possibly trying the shot again. He's just moving Josh Cobb himself round a little bit squarer on the offside. This time though, he just picks that one up with a more conventional stroke on the leg side, and they pick up a single down to deep square. Paul Sterling comes in off the boundary as Cox just works that one away off his legs. 1 more to him, 19, and Worcestershire up to 120 for 6. Zaben again, 3 steps, and an attempted drive by Ed Barnard. It gets a thick outside edge and it runs down towards backward point. The throw to Adam Rossington manages to demolish 2 of the 3 stumps. They've already had enough damage this afternoon when Brandon Glover, when he bowled Ricky Vessel, split the stump in 2, and not down the middle, but actually sort of across the middle of it, which was very unusual. So there's a certain amount of repair work to be done, a bit like Corporal Jones in the episode of Dad's Army, when he breaks the wicket and they're flying all over everywhere, and the vicar has to come in and remake the wicket.
Freddie Truman's in that episode, isn't he?
Yes. 121 for 6, 1 ball to go in the 19th. Zabe again round the wicket, good shot there, good pull, by Ben Cox, but he's going to be caught. He got not enough of it, and Tom Sole, he was just hiding behind a pillar, but ran round, made good ground again, and in the end took it pretty comfortably. He got a player around a bat on it, but it's a longer boundary out that side, and Tom Sole takes the catch, and another wicket falls, and a wicket for safe save. This time Cox goes for 19, and at the end of the 19th over, Worcestershire 121 for 7.
Yes, which I would have thought would take a bit of defending. Daryl Mitchell on his way towards the middle, and Mitchell, I suspect, when Worcestershire come to bowl, will be called upon, because his dibbly-dobblies, which are not medium pace, they're a lot slower than that, might well be useful on this pitch.
Pace off is going to be the instruction, I would imagine.
Well, we're going to finish off with a bit of medium pace by the looks of it, as Brandon Glover is going to bowl the final over of the innings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bowlers used by Josh Cobb.
And 15 of them spin today. This is only the 5th over of seam we've had.
That's amazing, isn't it?
2 from Sanderson, 1 from Buck, and Glover's other one in which he took the wicket of Vessels. Otherwise we've had 4 from Josh Cobb, 4 from Paul Sterling, 4 for Graham White, and 3 for Safe Save.
You don't see that very often in this competition.
It's a good catch, that last one by... Thompson made it look deceptively easy, because he had to make a bit of ground, but... took it well.
Here's Glover then, start of the final over. And, goes for an audacious reverse pull lap hook. Whatever he was trying to play.
He missed it.
He missed it. I can describe in no detail the shot. It was, I do have to say, with all due respect to Ed Barnard, a bit ugly. So, 5 balls left. And Worcestershire with just 121 on the board. Glover, probably the longest run of any bowler in the game today, I would have thought. Starts off from the Diglis end. This ball is, that's a good ball. That's a good Yorker, that is.
Super.
Looking to make some room for himself there was Ed Barnard, and boomed in. Just waiting for the replay just to see exactly where that went, because Ed Barnard was leaping about. His toes were in considerable danger there. Let's just have a look at... I'm having a look at it, you can't. I'm a little bit surprised that wasn't possibly called a wide, but maybe that's because Ed Barnard moved in that direction. Next ball, and Barnard is beaten again by this one.
Good pace by Glover.
He is, he's really...
Considering he's coming in cold, it's not as though he's in the middle of a spell. He's just come into the attack having not bowled for a while.
Yeah, really pinged that one through.
Generated decent wheels, as they say.
So 3 balls of the over gone, and Ed Barnard has yet to put bat to ball. It's got another... that's just missing, just shaving leg stump. The last one. Here's the next one. 3 balls left of the innings. Barnard, bat held high, does all sorts of jiggery pokery, moving around in the crease. They've got one. They'll stay for one. Wakely comes round inside the circle on the offside to do the fielding. So Daryl Mitchell has got 2 balls to try and do something. Barnard, just as the bowler was in his delivery stride, was dancing all over the place there. He went forward, sideways. I think he did a paso doble, a waltz, and a 2-step.
But no 10 from Len.
No. 122 for 7. Glover bowls, short, pulled away by Mitchell. It'll be 1, and they'll settle for 1. No point in... you could at this stage sacrifice a wicket, but not much point really. 123 for 7. And this is the last ball of the 20th over. And remarkably, it's 2:13, so we're just 4 minutes inside that cut-off time. I never know how they work these things out.
Creative accounting, isn't it?
Yeah. Take away the number you first thought of. Divide it by the number of ratchets in a Black & Decker toolkit. Here's Glover's final ball, and Barnard gets this one away. They're only going to get 1 now. Straight to Cobb at mid-off. And of the 2 teams, I think that Northamptonshire will be much the happier as Worcestershire come off at 124 for...
Underneath one in a moment. Anderson back on strike.
Kame had a fantastic blast last year, picked up 12 wickets at 18, went at 7.5 and over, which is pretty good for a spinner. Bowls here, using his feet, Anderson up and over the top of mid-off. One bounce over the rope.
I think Anderson had almost the perfect start to that over there because he was able to watch Eskenazi try and awkwardly play those first 2 balls and get the measure of him and thought, right, I've had enough, I've seen enough of this, I know what to do, and dance down the track, and that's a beautiful looking shot. Timed, measured. And as you say, 1 bounce 4 into the stands.
He's in the double figures, so 33 for 1. Couple of balls to go in the 4th over. Building towards a healthy power play this. Small tweak to the field. Deep square moves to cow corner. Kayam bowls to Anderson, who plays with a straight bat to extra cover, no run.
It's one of my biggest fears of the T20 cricket and COVID conditions is we saw in the Bob Willis Trophy that because this is a very strict sort of green zones and orange zones where players are allowed to go only.
Again, using his feet, Anderson, but happy to take the single on offer to mid-off to end the over, retain the strike. He's 11 from 9 balls, 34 for 1 Middlesex after being sent in by Kent. 2 overs to go in the power play.
In the COVID conditions, of course, fielders have to retrieve the balls that have been sent into the stands, or indeed if they were playing an outground into fields and things. And that's all very well when you're playing red ball cricket, because it doesn't all too often sort of sky over for sixes and that kind of thing. But in T20 cricket, I'm a little bit worried about how often we're going to have to see players clambering over seats and things into stands to try and find those balls.
Yeah, especially if they get into the second deck. I wonder what will happen then. Or into the construction site, which is entirely possible over at the nursery end of the ground. Milne's continuing his second over. To Anderson, shimmying forward, swing and a miss outside the off stump.
Yeah, really pretty premeditated there by Anderson. He was down, I think maybe 2 steps down the track already before the ball had even got to the end of his run-up. Milne's there.
So Milnes has a deep point and a deep square leg now. He's 2 outside the circle. The penultimate over of this power play, and the field can be spread. He bowls and Anderson off the back foot, can't beat point. Came forward, then rocked back, and the placement needed to be perfect with that packed offside field.
So a few games going around the grounds today. Worcestershire against Northampton in their innings break. Worcestershire made 124 for 7 off their 20 overs. They started an hour earlier than we are here at Lords. Durham Notts have got their match start has been delayed up at Chesterler Street, I believe due to rain.
Anderson slapping through extra cover. Nicely timed, running towards the Warner stand rope. He's 15, joining Eskenazi. It's 38 for 1.
How quick were his hands there? Really whipped through that shot. And they're splicing the field between cover and extra. Really had no chance.
We said it a lot during the Bob Willis Trophy games, Isabel, that this truncated summer has given plenty of opportunities to young players that may not have necessarily had those chances had it been a conventional summer, and Anderson certainly falls into that category. He's facing up again here, whipping through square leg, gets another single. He's 16, it's 39 for 1.
Oh, absolutely. I think even sort of the most strident Middlesex fans would have been hard pressed to know too much about Anderson coming into this season. Played a lot of second 11 cricket before, but was really taking this opportunity, as you say, with both bat and with ball, and played really responsible roles as well.
Yeah, well, really didn't bowl at all last year, coming back from that back injury, but with ball and bat, he's been fantastic. It's Eskenazi here, shimmying forward before flicking through mid-wicket. Takes one, happy with one. So 40 for 1 with 1 ball to come in. This is the 5th over. So run rate of 8.3. Healthy early on.
So 184 for 5 was the total that they made against Essex. I think from the live stream it felt as the Essex commentators felt as though that was a gettable score, but I don't know.
Milnes to the crease. Anderson pulling beautifully through mid-wicket. That's a very nice shot from the young man into the 20s. After 5 overs, Middlesex 44 for 1. They're right on top with Anderson 20 from just 14 balls.
I was really impressed by their batting display over Chelmsford. Of course, you can't really say what's going to happen until you've seen both sides bat, as a cliche goes. But equally, it's a very young batting lineup. You think that they've lost their sort of that top four of David Milan up at Yorkshire, Sterling, Morgan, and AB de Villiers as well. And it means that someone like Holden, someone like Anderson, can come into the fold and they look comfortable. They don't look like rabbits in headlights. They look as though this is where they belong.
Isabel, for the first time today, I'll hand the commentary over to you.
Absolutely. So we're going to see Fred Klaassen is going to resume things from the nursery ends, take over from Imran Kayem. This is the Dutch left arm bowler, Eskenazi and Anderson just have a little chat about how they're going to play him. Got a man out cover point, man out deep square as well. That's it for the time being. Here comes Klaassen. He's going to come around the wicket, very wide of his crease, and this is all played down to third man. There's a man there inside the ring. Let's shut the stumps. They made that easily enough. Eskenazi moves to 17 from his 13 deliveries. Anderson there, 20 from 14, 45 for 1 the score. Floodlights on. It's a very grey and gloomy skies overhead at the moment. But
did have a great time of it last year in the Blast. Klaassen took his wickets at 39 and went it well over 9 runs and over. But has the wicket so far today, that of Max Holden. Anderson
on strike. Slightly open stance, Klaassen around the wicket again, and this one's flipped off his legs, and there's going to be a shot at the striker's end. Oh, and the ball misses. I think he would have been a few yards short there, Eskenazi. He called him through for a quick single. It was Eskenazi's call, standing at the non-striker's end. But had they hit, he would have been in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, good assertive running there from Eskenazi. He's been taking responsibility for running to the danger end more often than not, so he's the man taking ownership of that.
Eskenazi there on strike, high back lift. Looks to go forward down the crease, and he's run that down to third man. It's going to be a chase on down to the boundary. The fielder there just inside the ring, a little bit wide, and they come back easily enough for 2. It's nice to see here the 2 batters, not only are they striking the ball nicely, but they're placing it beautifully as well. And a few deft shots in there, just to change things up, really frustrate the bowler. Here comes Klaassen again, round the wicket, and this is in the air over the top of the ring fielder and falling just in front of the man at cover point on the bounce, running through from the boundary. Didn't quite get hold of that one, Eskenazi, and actually maybe that's a good thing, because if he had, it might have gone straight into the hands of the man out there.
Yeah, had he nailed that, it might have been catching practice, but caught up high on the blade, 1 bounce and safe, joining Anderson in the 20s.
Anderson there, very high baseball style backlift, crouches low, and this is whipped off his hips and lovely, beautifully over the top of mid wicket. It's just plugged in the ground as they do come back for 2. Looking for the third. There's a little relay going on, and Anderson does indeed. He's the one that calls it, and you can hear the clap from the Middlesex balcony. They're happy with that one. And it means that Middlesex also have moved past 50, 52 for 1. Anderson moves to 24. And this is a good start.
Yeah, excellent power play. Can they finish it with another boundary?
Oh, this is played nicely. Backward a point, and it's beaten the fielder out there. We talk about guiding the shots just in the gaps. It was just in front of, well, what you could call a sort of a gully, a backward point, and the man out cover point. And it was fast enough and flat enough, really to splice between the 2. And we've seen the first sort of retrieval from the stands. That ball, you can see it was hit with such power that he had to climb over the advertising hoardings and bring the ball back into the ground. 56 for 1 then. We've had 6 overs play. And both batters there on 24, Adam.
It's such a chilly afternoon, so swirly as well, but the clouds are a fraction less dark than they were a quarter of an hour ago, which is a good sign, given we've seen so many days of cricket affected by rain in 2020, both in the Bob Willis Trophy and, of course, international cricket last night at Old Trafford. The T20 international between England and Pakistan called off after 16 overs, and the 2 test matches to finish their series also fairly sodden draws in the end. And even our game at Radlett, had it gone on for another half an hour, that probably would have been a washout as well.
Change of bowler, Callum Haggett into the attack, right arm, and this is all a big appeal. Where do you think it goes up? Wrapped on the pads, and it means that Martin Anderson, who'd been going so well, 24 from 16, striking the ball well, he's gone first ball from the young Callum Haggett, LBW, and he departs 24, 56 for 2.
Well, that's the shot he's been trying to play, isn't it? Over the top of mid-wicket after coming down the track just by half a pace or so, but that first delivery, a little bit off the seam, just down the slope ever so slightly, and enough to beat the inside edge. That was a fairly straightforward decision for the umpire. But Anderson again showing plenty. 24 from 17 deliveries. He's taken pretty much every opportunity he's had through the course of the summer, both in red ball and white ball cricket. And here again, gets a start and takes Middlesex through the power play in a pretty good position. But now the game changes again at 56 for 2.
Haggett there against Hampshire bowled 3 overs for no wicket, but he's got one this time. First ball, a former Somerset Academy bowler who's been in and out of Kent squads, but been more around with the white ball stuff for Kent over the past few seasons. It's going to have Gubbins facing him, a left-handed batter to contend with. So cover point, deep square, a wide third man, also fine leg. And long on out here as well. Mid off just inside the ring. Here comes Haggett, right arm over to Gubbins, who's facing his first delivery. And immediately striking the ball beautifully, driving it. Very Gubbins-esque, really holds his pose through the covers. 4 runs, that's one way to get off the mark.
That's glorious. I mean, Gubbins is one of a number of Middlesex players who didn't get many opportunities in the Blast last year, played just 3 games, but as you mentioned off the top, Isabel, with a number of players from that campaign not available this year, Gubbins gets his chance at number 4, and, well, that was a classy way to start his day today.
Yeah, we saw a bit of that in the Bob Willis. He likes to, once he hit that cover drive, he likes to hold it there for the cameras. Perhaps here comes Haggett around the wicket to Gubbins. He's just pushing into the covers and he'll get a single for it. Very determined shot there. I think he knew exactly what he was doing.
Good question where the photographers are today. I might try and spot some around the ground. I saw Phil Brown here this morning. One of the best in the business, if not the best in the business. I don't know where he's pulled up today, but they are mostly on the second deck of the tavern stand by the looks of things.
Haggett, right arm over, and this is a slow delivery, turned around the corner by Eskenazi out to square leg. Yeah, Alex Davis down there as well. He's got his camera. A few dotted around, as you say, harder to spot in the sort of vast emptiness of Lords.
Yeah, it's very different, isn't it? The tavern stand, of course, is where, well, when cricket commentary first started, way back in the 1920s and 1930s, that's where it was done at Lords. But it's been a long time.
Haggett again, and this has just popped in the air over, I think, or to the right-hand shoulder of extra cover on the ring there. Gubbins there was a bit indecisive, not sure whether he was going to go through the shot and try and get it up and over that inner ring field, or whether he was just defending it, and in the end he was lucky, I think, not to depart. So a single there for Gubbins, 63 for 2. Haggett is going to continue from the pavilion end, right arm over, and again, nice slow delivery, and this one's flat batted back at a point, and there's a big dive on there. A good chase from the man out on the cover point boundary, and he does haul the ball in, and they come back for 2. 65 for 2 then, Middlesex at the halfway mark. At the halfway mark. Goodness, I was looking at the run rate there as opposed to the overs. 7 overs gone, 65 for 2. That's a decent start, Adam.
Yeah, it is, and Eskenazi would be thinking here, well, look, if he can bat through the majority of the middle overs, obviously having to modulate the game, having the fielders out now, but we've seen on a number of occasions here under lights at Lords in the T20 Blast him really take off and clear the boundary. Certainly early in his career he was known for that, wasn't he, as one of the major draw cards here at Lords. So he'll be hoping for a chance to go big now that he's laid that foundation. 27 from 18 balls.
Looks like we're going to see Imran KM back into the attack. Is it Imran KM? No, it's going to be Jack leaning. So he's right arm around the wicket. Bowling to Gubbins. And just plugs that out onto the boundary. So a lot of changes here in the bowling composition of Kent. Just mix and match, spin this end, seam the other.
Yeah, of course, leaning new to Kent this year for a long career at Yorkshire.
It's going back over the wicket to Eskenazi, who thrashes that into the covers, and I think that might be forwards are chasing the boundary, and will he make it? He does. Really, really good fielding there from the man at cover point, Fred Klaassen there, who's patrolling the offside boundary. They do come back for 3, so good running as well. But it looked as Eskenazi hadn't really got hold of that one, spliced it in between the ring field. They come back for 3, 69 for 2. Around the wicket here, leaning away, dart light delivery, just poked into the offside. No run.
So 3 out on the leg side, deep backward square, deep mid wicket and long on.
There's a fuller one, and this is slapped into the offside. Nice flat batted shot there by Gubbins. He's really getting through his deliveries here, leaning. I think as soon as he's got the ball, he wants to go.
Yeah, Gubbins picking out one of the 2 sweepers on the offside who were at, well, when Gubbins was on strike anyway, deep cover and long off.
Here he is again, Eskenazi just turns that into the onside, and I wonder if they're going to think about the 2 there. He didn't quite time it, and it meant that fine leg had a bit of work to do, and he's done it. So just the single, 71 for 2.
Don't mind this from leaning to really bash and crash his way through the over, transfer the pressure back onto the batting side. Just 6 singles, or 6 runs rather, conceded from 5 balls so far. Doing a job already.
Gubbins waits. Again, very, very full, and this one is just, oh, this is lovely. Backward a point. He used the length of that ball just to almost paddle the bat, angle it in between backward point and to do a short third. And it means they end that over, and as you said, I think it was good over by leaning. It was good tactics from him trying to get through things, but a 4 to end it. And it means Middlesex 75 for 2. And we are going to see a spin at both ends, because Imran Kayam is going to come on from the pavilion end.
Yeah, so Gubbins just 3 opportunities to play in last year's Vitality Blast, and now getting a more substantial opportunity. Last year, just a couple of innings, really not a factor in the competition at all, but a reconfigured Middlesex 11 under Stuart Law this year. As your paperwork flies away.
The wind is so blustery that even my sellotaped paperwork has flown away. Here comes Kayam around the wicket, and this one's just tucked into the onside, and it was one of those where you thought, are they going to come back for 2? So it was requiring the fielder from the boundary to come up and do the leg work, but they decided against it. 76 for 2. So the left-hand, right-hand combination really does sort of come into focus when you're playing T20s, and they're just the fielders having to move every single ball almost across the field. Umpire decides to stay where he is at point. So Kayam's going to continue around the wicket, and this is just giving Gubbins a bit of space. Turn this onto the onside, but well picked up at mid-wicket.
He almost struck that too well. The call was 2-2-2, but timed it nicely to deep mid-wicket. No chance for the second.
Here he is again. Eskenazi just thrashing that, trying to get it past point. Doesn't make it. 32 from 22, Eskenazi. Kayam's already got ball in hand, and they're really trying to rip through these overs, as this one's a bit straighter. And Kayam, they're going to have to field off his own bowling, and he does nicely. So another single.
Calling some good fielding there from Jordan Cox earlier in the over. Looking forward to seeing him bat. The 19-year-old, of course, made an unbeaten 238 in the Bob Willis Trophy a couple of weeks ago. So he enters this short-form competition in very good nick.
Kayam to Gubbins, and this one again a little bit shorter, straighter. Gives himself room, Gubbins. But he almost reprimanded himself as he went through the stroke. I think he wanted to get the placement of that ball a little bit wider, perhaps. Try and beat the fielder out at the boundary's edge. 79 for 2. This one again, another single. The shy at the non-striker's end, or at least a throw to the bowler to try and run out Eskenazi coming through, but they've made it in time. 80 for 2. 9 overs gone. Eskenazi 34, Gubbins 14. It's not the only Middlesex team, or Middlesex players, I guess, playing today. It's the opening round of the Rachel Hayhoe Flint 50 over competition for the women, 8 zonal teams and a large Middlesex contingent representing the Sunrisers. Of course, I think 7 Middlesex players are in that squad. Sunrisers made 202 with Middlesex's Naomi Datani. I think she made 41 in the end. Maddie Villiers, I think, an unbeaten 60 as well. Not to 202, but Southern Vipers currently going very well, 47 without loss in the 8th over, as this has turned into the onside by Eskenazi, and they are going to come back for 2. It's a fumble in the outfield to begin the start of this. Callum Haggett over from the nursery end.
Yeah, fantastic to see the Rachel Hayhoe Flint Trophy start today. When you consider where we were just a couple of months ago, it's been a mighty effort from a lot of people around the nation to make sure that that regional competition is to be played throughout the next month.
Haggett into Eskenazi. Flat batted out to cover point, just the 1 run. Yeah, they found themselves in a bit of strife early on, the Sunrisers. 30 for 3. The loss of Fran Wilson, batting at number 3, went for 11, but Naomi Datani steadying the ship. She got 42. Maddie Villiers for Essex got 64 before she was run out, and 202. A competitive total, you'd think, but with Danny Wyatt currently at the crease for the Southern Vipers, 24 for 24. Here comes Haggett again into Gubbins, and this one's all driven nicely and wide of extra cover. Bell Drummond there diving to his left, and it's 4 runs. Fielder running around from long off tried to intercept the ball, but he went over the boundary edge with the ball in hand, 87 for 2.
That's so well placed, just to the left of Bell Drummond, but up into the deep pocket there in front of the Compton, the old Compton stand, I suppose you would call it, just making it to the rope.
Haggett into Gubbins, and this one's wide this time, wide of square leg, and a good piece of fielding there from cover point. Just manages to get a hand to the ball as he skids through, pats the ball back into the rope. That means Gubbins has to settle for 2.
It's looking good. Made it to 20 from just 11 balls, couple of boundaries in there.
And he waits as Haggett around the wicket. Guided
Clever.
Beautifully, fine of third man. The race is on and the ball has beaten him. Really beautiful shot there from Gubbins. It was very full, and all he needed to do was just guide it down, and he did.
Yeah, placement a couple of times in this over from Gubbins, once on the drive and then with that deft deflection past the keeper. Fine of short third man, and just had the legs to roll into the boundary rope.
Haggett very wide of the crease, and this one's just placed once more in between backward point and that short third. Settle for 2. So 95 for 2 at the halfway mark.
You consider how tough this side was to get into last year for Middle. He is no longer eligible to play in the county championship as a local player, or the various competitions that. So we're halfway there, halfway through. Kayam to bowl his 3rd over from the pavilion end now on the back foot. Cutting out towards the sweeper at deep point is Eskenazi. He moves to 38 from 27 balls. Adam Collins back with you in the commentary chair, with Isabel Westbury to my right.
Very nice chairs as well. Very lucky.
It's a lovely spot to be, as we will be throughout the course of the T20 Blast here at Lords. Kayam going around the wicket, or over the wicket rather. Around the wicket, getting confusing myself there. Good pull shot in any case by Gubbins. Down towards the rope and trickling into it. So another boundary for Nick Gubbins. He's 30 from just 14 balls. Middlesex bring up their 100 for 2. So Kayam trying to change the angle at the left-hander. The 100 up in just 62 balls for Middlesex. They're well on their way for 200 plus here. Kayam to Gubbins, full toss. He elects to place it to deep point for a single. Yes, this is particularly nice being up. If you're watching down the barrel of the stream, we are at long on when Eskenazi's on strike. That's full, floated and defended. Well, not defended as much as he tried to squeeze it out, but almost yorked himself. This time Eskenazi makes solid contact, but only as far as mid-off. Collected by Bell Drummond. They take a single, so 102 for 2. Eskenazi has 39 of them. One ball to come in this, the 11th over. Small change in the field. Bell Drummond moving himself to backward point when Gubbins is on strike to cut off his ability to rock onto the back foot. Instead, he clips off the front. 2 deep mid-wicket. He'll retain the strike, 103 for 2. Gubbins has 32. 9 overs to go. Well, yeah, 200 minimum from this place.
Oh, absolutely. Especially with these two going as they are. Their partnership now over 50, or no, nearing 50.
Yeah, they came together at 56 when Anderson was out.
So 47.
Leg before wicket to Haggett for 24. He was the second wicket to fall. The first was that of Max Holden. He was bowled by Claasen's second delivery when he was 7 and the score was 12 in the second over. Stewart is back into the attack. He bowled the first over of the game from the pavilion end. He's now at the nursery end. On the way around the wicket to Gubbins. It's full. Gubbins doesn't quite get all of it. Gets very little of it in the end. It spills out towards extra cover. They take a single. He's 34.
Yeah, very quick between the crease. Gubbins.
So Grant Stewart, an Australian originally, has an Italian passport, playing as a local here. Oh, he's attempted ramp by Eskenazi, but doesn't make contact. The ball ends up in the gloves of Robinson. But I like what he's trying to do there, because third man's up and fine legs up. So if he makes any contact there, it'll almost certainly run down towards the boundary in front of us here.
Guilty perhaps just going a little bit too early. I think Stewart picked it up there as well.
Stewart goes again. Eskenazi full, clipping. Out through mid-wicket. There'll be 1 there and there'll be 2 there. Good running from Gubbins. He was on the bike and turning.
Yeah, it's one thing that he seems to do is he makes it look so easy, those 2 runs between the wickets, when you think, oh, he's got a single, possibly a 2, and already Gubbins is halfway down the track. And it comes into a dead certainty rather than a maybe.
So 5 men out, all in front of the wicket. Stewart bowls. Eskenazi, can he beat backward point? He can. That'll run away for 4. He moves to 45 and Middlesex are 110 for 2. Just using the pace of the ball, getting deep in the crease and realising that if he placed it well enough, it'd be a certain boundary.
Yeah, backward point there. Just slightly underestimating the speed of that ball, waiting a little fraction too late. To dive to his left there, Fred Klaasen, and it resulted in a boundary.
Stewart to the crease. Eskenazi through mid-wicket. They should come back for 2 again. And they do. Again, Gubbins making the early call that it was going to be 2. Running back towards the non-striker's end, and Eskenazi was comfortably back. 47, the right-hander. It's 112 for 2 with 1 ball to come in the 12th over. Stewart bowls. It's 4 more for Eskenazi. That'll be his half-century. It crashes into the rope. 51 from 34 balls after opening the batting. Isabel Westbury, he's been on top form.
Yeah, it's funny, in that Essex match, he certainly almost looked as though he was the one that was hitting the ball more nicely in that opening stand with him, between him and Holden. Holden, of course, going on to make his century, but Eskenazi, he hit 3 4s in that opening over. It came with intent. He's trying to sort of make up, I guess, for an under par performance in the Bob Willis Trophy, but he's looking out here.
His 6th half-century in T20 cricket. Indeed, he's nearing his highest score of 57 not out. 12 overs gone. Plenty of time. 116 for 2.
There's a bit of sunlight warming things up, peeping in between the clouds.
No complaints. Haggett back from the pavilion end to Gubbins, who isn't able to find the gap from the full toss. Straight out towards cover. Alex Blake does the fielding. They take a single. He's 34.
I've seen a couple of those low full tosses. They seem to be part of the armoury of T20 cricket. Sort of, you don't think they should be, but they are often one of the hardest balls to actually get away. To get underneath them often kind of square you up, sometimes even surprise you. Not something you're always expecting as third man, as though he's going to be pushed down to the boundary. And
yeah, a couple of tweaks here. So we've got a long on and a third man who've gone back between deliveries. Haggett bowls and Eskenazi picks out the captain Bell Drummond at extra cover, no run. So the men outside the circle, deep point third man, deep square, deep mid wicket and long on. Haggett to the crease. Eskenazi shimmying forward outside the off stump, wide enough to be signalled accordingly. So that helps. One to the sundries. 118 for 2.
yeah, that was very wide. One of those that you start to wonder if that was a red ball game, that might even also been called a wide. More unusual there, of course, but that one I think he knew as soon as he'd released it.
Haggett goes again. Eskenazi up and over the top of square leg for 6. The first big one of the day for the Middlesex opener. He's 57 not out from just 36 deliveries. 124 for 2 is the score. As I mentioned before, that's his highest score in this format of the game.
Yeah, really sensible cricket there from Eskenazi. That wide delivery, the previous ball, and perhaps knowing that Haggett was going to be concentrating more on getting that line right, anticipated it to be a bit straighter. And a big sweep shot over the top of square leg.
Happy with one to mid-wicket here. Will they consider a second? They won't. So he's 58 now. Good to see as he throws his head back. He feels like he might have missed an opportunity to go big with consecutive deliveries.
Cricketers always chastising themselves. It's one of the quirks of the game. Never quite happy.
Yeah, he was really important, wasn't he, on that final day at Radlett against Sussex. Haggett bowls to Gubbins, beats him with a slow one. Eskenazi was out in the 20s, but batted through that tough period as they were whittling down the required runs to go. I think he was probably dismissed with 40 or 50 runs to get. Did a lot of work in that middle session. Dancing down the track is Gubbins, but it'll be signalled a wide because Haggett, for the second time in the over, has missed the tram tracks.
Yeah, very erratic over here from Haggett. We've had wides down both sides.
I think he might have suffered from the gust of breeze picking up just as he reached the bowling crease. Certainly where we are, almost directly behind him, it felt that way. Goes again, wide of the crease. Scooping and doing it so well there is Gubbins. Running away for 4. That's his 6th boundary out of 38. 6 boundaries in 20 deliveries faced indeed. Middlesex 130 for 2 after 13 overs. As we said a couple of overs ago, that 200 would be par from here really, given how well they've laid this foundation. But if they can keep finding the boundary as regularly as they have in the last couple of overs, maybe we're looking at a real big one here.
Yeah, 11 per over in the last 5. That's really good signs from the Middlesex duo. Partnership up at 70. Happy days for the home fans.
Yeah, a couple of wides helped them along in that over. So 7 to go, run rate. Not hard to work out. 13 overs gone. 130 runs on the board. An even 10. There'll be some overs of spin between now and the death. Blake is being trusted to bowl his first of the afternoon here. Alex Blake, a lot of experience. So 119th T20 today. sending down an over of off spin from the nursery end. The first ball is cut down towards Kiam at backward point. They take a single.
Yeah, that was wide and very short as well. I think Eskenazi was quite frustrated that he didn't pick up more for that.
Blake going around the wicket to Gubbins. Tries to hoik him through mid-wicket, inside edge, to the man on the 45. Another single. So 2 singles to start this, the 14th over. Fuller and Eskenazi goes down towards long off, so 3 singles now. Kent would take that after their last couple of overs. With Gubbins on strike, we have a deep square leg, deep mid-wicket, long on, long off, and a deep cover in front of the grandstand there. Blake outside the off stump, Gubbins timing it nicely through cover. There'll be at least 2. They come back for that second run. Gubbins now into the 40s. He's 41. Middlesex 135 for 2. Couple to go in the 14th. Blake to Gubbins. Oh, delicate again. Past short third. They'll come back for 2. Just waited on that till the last possible moment. From our angle, looks like he steered it in that direction intentionally. Was that your assessment as well, Isabel?
Yeah, I think so. And a really frustrating one there for the bowler as well, because you've bowled nice line length and you think you're there close. But then it just runs away. No fault of your own almost, but that's the beauty and the annoyance of cricket.
So 7 off it so far. Last ball. A fraction short of Gubbins. Swing and a miss. Deflects off the pad out towards the offside. Collected by Robinson. So a good over that for Kent. Blake going for just the 7. 6 overs to go. Middlesex 137 for 2. Eskenazi is 60 off 39. Gubbins 43 off 24. This pair came together 1 ball into the 7th over with the score on 56. So just at the end of the power play into that middle over section. And they've taken us all the way to the death overs here now. So they've done a good job through the middle section, the middle 8 overs. Can they now stick the landing? Kiam bowling here. Dancing forward down the track is Eskenazi before adjusting and slapping out to deep point for a couple. Placing that really well. The sweeper out at deep cover rather than deep point. 139 for 2. Eskenazi 62. This time sweeping hard and timing it and placing it magnificently. Eskenazi's having a fantastic time of it here. He's now 66 from 41. That's his 6th boundary. Hit a 6 in that direction as well.
Yeah, you have to get that placement just right because you've got 2 boundary fielders who are quite close to each other, the square leg and the mid-wicket.
He bisected them, didn't he?
Absolutely.
Kiam to the crease, bowls Eskenazi. Pushes to point. Gives the strike back to Gubbins. He's now 67. Yeah, that previous shot, the sweep shot, premeditated, but knew exactly what he was doing. He's very much in. Gubbins' turn. 3 out on the leg side. Around the wicket, Kiam. Out towards 2 of them. Oh, he's bisected them as well. There's a deep mid-wicket and a long on, and Gubbins has gone bang. He's 47 off 25. Quite superb timing. Didn't try and overhit it. Just where he needed to be in that gap. Gubbins, he's faced just 25 deliveries rather, and 7 of them have gone to the rope. He's 47. Can he bring up his 50 here? He doesn't. A fraction flatter from Kiam. Collected in his follow-through. One ball to come in the 15th over. It's been a good one. 2 boundaries, 11 off it so far. 3 still out on the leg side. Around the wicket. Sweeping is Gubbins to the man at the 45 on the edge of the circle. They take 1. He retains the strike. He's 48 off 27. Middlesex with 5 overs to go. 149 for 2 with Eskenazi 67. I'll hand back to Izzy Westbury for the death overs as Middlesex push towards 200.
Yeah, really interesting to see how these Middlesex batters at the crease have played these first 15. There's only hit 1-6 between the two of them, but their rotation of strike and they know each other's game very well. The placement has been good as well. You almost sort of forget that it hasn't come on quite so many boundaries as you might expect, because it's going along at a very healthy run rate indeed. 149 off 2, that run rate hovering just under the 10, of course, after the 15 overs played in this first innings. Looks as though Blake's going to continue from the nursery end, bowling to Gubbins, coming around the wicket. Just sighted there by Gubbins, unusual to see. That's because it's a wide. And Blake not particularly happy. I think that was a tight one to have called. But the umpire spreads his arms, spread eagle to the scoreboard. Here he is again. This one is a lot straighter, and that one, oh, I don't know how that managed to miss. That off peg, big heave.
Yeah, well bowled there at the front of the hand, wasn't it? So that was just running off the index finger, past the inside edge. Good change up.
Around the wicket, and Gubbins darts down the track, gives himself room, and plugs it down to long off. I think we're having one of those days where the weather forecast will give you one temperature, but then what you really want is the feels like temperature, which is probably about 10 degrees colder. Here comes Blake over the wickets, and this is a thick outside edge. I want to run down to third man, nicely fielded. The man here at third man, diving to his left there, Imran Kayam.
Well, good captaincy this from Bill Drummond to throw the ball to Blake. An experienced man, not a recognised frontline bowler, but just to stand a little bit after this Middlesex pair really did get on top.
Gubbins waits, and again giving himself room, and you thought they was trying to carve it into the offside. He'd managed to flat bat it into the onside, and it brings up his 50 as well, 50 off 30 balls, and it means that Middlesex are 153 for 2. 7 fours in that innings, as we said, just the 1-6 between the two of them, coming from Eskenazi. But they'll be happy with this. Good rotation.
Yeah, they put on 97 now.
Blake, and this is a reverse sweep, nice and fine from Eskenazi, and will that run away and beat the fielder down at the boundary edge? Indeed it does, and it means that 100 partnership then is up as well. So 100 partnership between Eskenazi and Gubbins.
Yeah, coming together, just one ball into the 7th over. They've only faced 61 balls together, batting for half an hour, 32 minutes, 101 runs they've put on together. Happens quick in T20 cricket.
It does indeed. Blake over the wicket, and a premeditated reverse sweep there from Eskenazi. He had his foot in the crease, even though the keeper whipped the bails off. I don't think he left the crease at all there. But it's a dot ball at least for Blake. It's a dot ball at least for Blake.
Solid contributor, of course, averages 31, strike rate of 133, everything you want from a T20 player statistically as far as what he's been able to do over the last few years. But I suppose has an opportunity here. He would need to have a bit go his way, but there is potentially a century on the shelf here with 4 overs to go. He'd need to face at least, 12 of the last 24 balls, which you expect he would. That's half the deliveries, and given how well he's seeing them. But Gubbins will be on strike for the first ball of the 7/8.
Yeah, I'm going to see Fred Klaassen coming in from the pavilion end. Looks is going to be bowling over the wicket, left arm over to Gubbins. He's there on an even 50. And just tucks him up a little bit, and he turns it into the onside. They're going to come back for 2 because it was timed or not timed, perhaps enough that it really had to. The fielder out on the boundary had to really do a lot of work to come in and field from Zach Crawley there at long on. So 2-1 to start this over. Klaassen's got a big black sweatband on his right arm, his non-bowling arm, as he makes his way past the umpire. Nice heave into the onside. Man out there. Settle for the single.
184 for 5 in Middlesex's first game of this competition. Now 160 for 2 in the 17th over, so well on track for 200 plus. It's a good start. Proof that they can rack up the sort of scores they'll need to make in order to progress to the elimination stages of this tournament.
Daniel Drummond, the Kent captain, just coming out to his bowler, having a little chat, a little word of where exactly he wants him hitting those areas. It's come around the wicket and premeditated by Eskenazi into the stands at square leg. Really flat, beautifully timed. And it's hit the metal railings, in fact, that border the seats just at the front of the stand, and it's ricocheted back in. That's pretty dangerous, actually, for the fielder out there. It sort of came back straight at him almost. But 6 runs for Middlesex, 166 for 2, and Eskenazi moves to 78 from 46. That was rather beautiful.
Yeah, that was hard and flat. Grant Stewart, had he managed to get hands on it, it's a sort of ball that can really sting the fingers on a day like this, but in the end it cleared that right hand and went over the rope comfortably.
Class very wide of his crease. This one's not timed quite so well by Eskenazi, seeping underneath him. Much fuller delivery from the Dutchman. Biting wind up here. The Coventry gantry, but a nice view. Here he comes. This is high in the air, down to mid-wicket, and I wonder if there's a man underneath it, and there is indeed, and he steadies himself. It's Zach Crawley there. And he slipped as he caught it as well. So to hold on to it, that was a very good effort indeed. And it means that Nick Gubbins departs for 53, Middlesex 167 for 3.
Well, they put on 111, mentioned before, they batted all the way through those middle overs, coming together just at the end of the power play, and they've taken it deep now into, what are we, the 17th over. So 2 balls to go in the 17th. Gubbins was able to find the boundary consistently through the overs where the fielders are back, doing so on 7 occasions. He really was excellent.
2 wickets then for Clarkson as Gubbins departs. It means that John Simpson, a hard-hitting wicket-keeper, makes his way to the crease.
In good Nick Simpson, we've seen, of course, in the Bob Willis Trophy, him able to play some very useful counter-attacking hands. He was there at the end on Monday when they struck the winning runs against Sussex. Tight finish. They're up against a strong bowling attack, but also the weather. A close, exciting game and finish, which means that Middlesex are still mathematically in touch of the final in that competition, but we now have this blast break, and if you like, and good start with the bat.
Eskenazi on strike as they cross, and this has gone right through, and there's an appeal for caught behind. He'd given himself a lot of room moving on to the offside, trying to whip it into the onside, but in the end it sort of passed his inside edge, I guess, and through to the keeper, and they just wanted to got a little tickle on that at the bottom of the bat, but he did not. So 167 for 3. It means that Simpson shortly will be facing his first ball with 3 overs left of this innings remaining.
Yeah, so 3 overs to go, 33 short of 200. In Eskenazi's case, 21 short of what would be a fantastic century if he can get there. He's faced just 48 balls. Been there from the get-go. Increased responsibility this year, of course. A serious senior player now, captaining the 4-day stuff and opening the batting in the T20s.
Matt Milne's going to take things up from the nursery end as we get into the business stage of this match. Simpson's facing his first ball, and this one is rocketed out of the field. My goodness, that's the first one that we've seen that lands in the stands. It's Simpson's first ball of the day. It very much is 6 runs over mid-wicket. That's a beautiful shot. That was launched.
Great shot, wonderful contact and placement and elevation, and also psychologically. I mean, Milnes will have to bowl this over and over 20. You'd expect that's how they've set it up, and just to land that blow at the start of the over, knowing that Milnes has a long way to go here. They've used a lot of bowlers. Kent, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So they've got options. The only bowler to get through his 4 is the spinner Khayyam, but you'd expect that Stewart or Klaasen will finish off from the pavilion end, but those 2 overs from the nursery end will almost certainly need to be bowled by Milnes, who's been excellent this year. 15 wickets in the Bob Willis and 3 the other night to open the blast, but that's gone a long way, and Simpson continuing his form from the red ball.
Simpson shoulders forward, he waits, and he just prods this one into the onside. It's quite a wide, full delivery, and he's 7 off 2 balls. That's a nice little tally.
Yeah, and Simpson was saying in the lead up to this competition that he sees himself at his best batting in the top 4 in T20 cricket. Was coming in at number 5 today, and an opportunity to drive Middlesex beyond 200 to help finish off what's been some very good work so far.
Here comes Eskenazi, advancing down the track, but he's hit it too well. Because it means they have to settle for the single as it's picked up cleanly. Crawley down there at square leg.
We're into the 80s now, Eskenazi. 80 from 49 deliveries. He's struck 7 boundaries and 2 sixes.
Simpson now on strike. Full, guided down, back at a point. But again, taken cleanly. And just at this point where I think Middlesex really do want to capitalise on that good platform they've got. It's not singles that they want now. So good bowling from Milnes. Frustrating bowling from Milnes from a Middlesex perspective. One right now back at 10s. Remember, it was around the 11-12 mark just a couple of overs ago. Eskenazi, he waits. And it's a slower ball. Whips it into the onside. They want the 2. They're coming back for the 2. It's going to be tight. And a dive at the non-striker's end. And that's good running.
Yeah, acknowledged by the teammates on the balcony as well. Simpson to the danger end. Got the dive in. Calling Eskenazi through. That's good batting.
Eskenazi, full toss. Races along the ground to Khayyam there. Short third. And put a pace on that from Milne. Just came a little bit quicker up on Eskenazi than perhaps he thought. So 2 overs remaining. 179 for 3. Middlesex eyeing up that 200 mark. And I think they'll need to get to that 200 mark. It does look like a very good pitch. It's run off the ball at the bat nicely. They've hit it. They've timed it well.
Well, fair to say it's a fresh pitch and plenty of time to prepare it, so you'd expect it to be a belter on opening day, if you like. Opening day at Lord's on the 29th of August. You wouldn't believe it had you said that. When the season ended in September 2019 here. But it really is a joy to be back.
So they're going to persevere with Fred Klaasen from the pavilion, and he's 2 for 35 from his 3 overs. So he's got the wickets, but he's been expensive as well. Daniel Baldrummond, the captain today, just manoeuvring through it a little bit, making fine legs slightly tighter. This is full. Played nicely into the offside. Come back for 2. That throws in at the non-strikers, and it's a direct hit, and it's given out. What a wonderful throw from the cover point boundary. He's made up a lot of ground there with that throw, and he only had 1 stump to aim at. And all you can say, really, there, poor old Eskenazi walked off the pitch on 83. He was eyeing up his century. He came back for what had to be a 2 at this stage. At that point, you don't necessarily expect it to wrap the stump straight up. And a lovely, lovely direct hit from the boundary edge. And a really important wicket there for Kent at this stage, just when Eskenazi certainly would be wanting to launch into fireworks. hasn't been given the opportunity. So 180 for 4. Wonderful piece of fielding there by Kent, but you can hear as well as Eskenazi walks off the field. 83 from 51 deliveries, 7 4s, 6 2s. And a lovely knock from the red ball captain, but it means that Dan Lincoln makes his way to the crease. Right-handed batsman, and he's offered a short one straight up, but it's a short and wide one down the leg side, and Klaassen there's not happy with the call, but I don't understand how he can really disagree with it. In white ball cricket, it was down the leg side. You're pretty much guaranteed for it to be called one. 181 for 4 into the 19th over here at Lords. Here comes Klaassen again. Red Souls away from us. Big heave-ho into the onside. Means that Lincoln's off the mark with a couple. Got a short sleeve jumper on there, Lincoln. Chilly day. This one's launched up in the air. It's gone very, very high. I wonder if it's managed to land inside the ground. It has not. It's gone high and it's gone far enough. Far enough over the square leg boundary edge. And for a moment there, the man out on the boundary settled himself and just thought underneath this clouded grey sky, would it fall into his hands? It did not. In fact, it's gone for the search party up into the stands. We talked about one of the perils of T20 cricket in the COVID era we'd find fielders clambering up through the stands. But it's 6 runs. That's the important thing for Middlesex. 189 for 4.
That had more height than it did length, I think. Went a long way in the air.
Oh, definitely.
Lincoln can certainly give it a wallop, can't he? Interesting backstory as well.
Yeah, absolutely. He's on the Reading Academy books. Goalkeeper, in fact. It's one of those where you think, oh, as a goalkeeper, he'd be a great wicketkeeper. But no, he bowls little right-arm mediums, I think, and a right-handed bat as well. But talented multi-sport all-rounder. We've seen a lot of those coming through these days, less and less frequently that they played at a quite high level in 2 different sports, owing to sort of the specialisation and the commitment that you have to make these days to your chosen code, so to speak. But he's certainly a talented athlete, and he's now on Middlesex's books, played for Berkshire. One of quite a few young Middlesex players who come through the Berkshire system, in fact. Good relationship with Middlesex. Klaassen left arm round, very wide and full. Just pushed into the onside by Lincoln. Moves to 9.
So 8 balls to go for Middlesex. 10 runs to reach 200. Simpson will fancy this.
That's full and timed nicely into the onside. They're eyeing up the 2 already. Lincoln has got down to the striker zone pretty quickly and comes back to the danger end relatively safely. So into the 190, 192. It looks as though that 200 mark certainly within reach. One more ball left of this 19th over.
Just a couple of drops of rain through the course of this over. Nothing to worry about too much, but it is in the air a little bit. Helps you work our way towards the halfway mark of this match.
Klaassen's final delivery of this innings, and it's full and clipped off the legs by Simpson. And again, Lincoln super quick between the 2 wickets. Made it very easily indeed, and it meant that on both occasions the throw was going to the furthest away to the keeper, and on both occasions made easily enough by the Middlesex duo. 194 for 4.
That's quite the shuttle run from Lincoln. Getting through the 22 yards, and well, he was a third of the way back before Simpson had the chance to turn himself. Excellent short form cricket. So 6 away from 200, which is what they really have been trending on, really, through the duration of this innings.